Elon Musk standing up and giving a Sig Heil, and then excusing himself for it by saying, well, he was just, putting his heart out to people. I think it's disgusting. It should be called out. The president should call it out. And
it's Governor J.B. Pritzker talking about a hand gesture that Elon Musk made during official ceremonies around the inauguration of President Donald Trump. Pritzker had a lot to say yesterday. So did Donald Trump. Good morning. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, and you can subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join us each and every weekday morning as we break things down for you to better understand in the land of Lincoln. Of course, if you missed the conversation we had with Lawrence Larry Legas, January 6th defendant, vindicated by the actions of Donald Trump yesterday or earlier this week. I think it was Monday when he signed the executive orders in the Oval Office after being inaugurated.
First, we have a list of pardons and commutations relating to events that occurred on January 6, 2021.
Okay, and how many people is this?
I think this order will apply to approximately 1,500 people, sir.
So this is January 6th, and these are the hostages? Approximately 1,500 for a pardon?
Yes.
Full pardon?
Full pardon or commutation?
Full pardon. We have about 6 commutations in there where we're doing further research.
And he goes on to talk more about, the different cases and whatnot. And they did announce that they were, like Joe Biggs, Stuart Rhodes, some other controversial figures in that collection. Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday at an unrelated news conference, he was really critical of the Trump administration's pardons.
It used to be the party of law and order, is now the party of chaos and disorder, and that stands against law enforcement. The people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th were attacking law enforcement, because that's who was there guarding the Capitol. And there are so many pictures and videos. If you don't know it, go look, because there were people who died, law enforcement who died as a result of the attack by those January 6th rioters. And he fomented that. I was at the White House not very long ago with President Biden, and there's a room behind the Oval Office that he showed me, which is the dining room when he wants to have lunch or dinner, in a private setting. People don't usually see this room. It's the room that the President Trump sat in for 3.5 hours watching TV as the January 6th rioters that he encouraged were attacking the Capitol. Sat there doing nothing. Like one of the most important institutions of our nation was under attack, and President Trump, who had the ability to stop it, did nothing for 3.5 hours, and people died. Thank you.
One person died, Ashley Babbitt. She was shot by Capitol Police, and a lot of people, injured and bruised up, and some damage done to the Capitol. Not everyone was violent. As you heard with our conversation with Larry Legas, he was waved into the Capitol. A lot of people caught up in that fashion, just walking into the Capitol. They weren't part of any violent mob of sorts. But Pritzker also, saying that Trump incited the riot. That might be an opinion, but I don't think Trump's been convicted of inciting a riot. So Trump, he had some reactions to reporters asking questions about the J6 pardons yesterday at an unrelated news conference.
These people have already served years in prison, and they've served them viciously. It's a disgusting prison. It's been horrible. It's inhumane. It's been a terrible, terrible thing. I also say this: you go to Portland, where they wrapped police officers, shot police officers, nothing happened to anybody. You go to Seattle, where they took over a big chunk of the city and people died. Portland, a lot of people died. Wait a minute. And you go also, take a look at Minneapolis, because I was there and I watched it. And if I didn't bring in the National Guard, that city wouldn't even exist today. People were killed and nobody went to jail. So these people have already served a long period of time, and I made a decision to give a pardon. Joe Biden gave a pardon yesterday to a lot of criminals. These are criminals that he gave a pardon to, and you should be asking that question. Why did he give a pardon to all of these people that committed crimes?
It's an interesting question, something that he says really does need to be answered. The January 6th committee on investigating the riot, they allegedly destroyed evidence. And the likes of Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, Republican from Illinois, and the various witnesses, in addition to Dr. Anthony Fauci being pardoned by Biden and General Milley being pardoned by Biden and his close family members being pardoned. But Trump obviously made those actions and getting some controversy. But Pritzker also talked about immigration yesterday, saying that he hasn't heard anything from the Trump administration on immigration enforcement efforts, though he has heard whispers of it.
The question was about whether I've received any communication from the Trump administration about their immigration actions. None. And I think that's just more evidence of the chaos and confusion that they're trying to sow. And it's very disappointing. Look, I don't know. They've not communicated with us, so we don't know when exactly those enforcement actions might take place. We have heard that they're targeting as many as 2,000 people initially in the city of Chicago alone. I don't know whether they'll effectuate that or how. Yesterday, as you may have heard, there was an executive order issued that would suggest that President Trump is trying to get rid of birthright citizenship in this country. That's unconstitutional, what he issued, the executive order. And we will not follow an unconstitutional executive order, and we will follow the law.
And you can go read the executive orders that President Donald Trump signed on Monday, and they range from, national energy emergency to securing the southern border. One of them essentially spells out what the Trump administration's interpretation of the 14th Amendment is for birthright citizenship, focusing in on the words subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So essentially how I read the executive order is, and you can find this at whitehouse.gov, is essentially saying that the Trump administration interprets that birthright citizenship is not granted to somebody born to non-citizen parents that are not subject to the jurisdiction thereof. So this is likely something that's going to get held up in courts, and you got Democrats like Dick Durbin and J.B. Pritzker pushing back against this. Here's Trump talking about how this is very needed, and it's ridiculous. Illinois or the United States had birthright citizenship.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the court? That one is likely to be passed.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know.
So he says he believes they're on good ground. We'll watch how that goes. Pritzker yesterday also critical of Trump's economic policies, saying that tariffs are going to cost consumers.
In the flood of all of the proposals that he made yesterday, there was nothing that would lower costs. In fact, he proposed tariffs on goods coming into this country from Canada and Mexico, and is proposing having an entire department that's dedicated to tariffs. Well, guess who's going to pay for tariffs? So he is raising costs for people across this country, not lowering them.
So the governor saying that tariffs are going to cost consumers, but Trump said while signing different executive orders, the push for tariffs has a simple plan behind it.
We need people, and I'm absolutely fine with it. We want to have it. We need it because we're going to have a lot of companies coming in to avoid tariffs. If you don't want tariffs, all you have to do is build your plant in the U.S., so we're going to have a lot of workers coming in.
So he essentially said that if companies overseas want to avoid paying tariffs to the United States for selling their goods in the United States, then they should just build their factories in the United States and avoid those tariffs. So we'll see how that plays out as well. But to Pritzker saying that nothing in Trump's agenda would lower prices for people, Trump said drill, baby, drill. And the national energy emergency he put forth aims to get as much natural energy as possible, and that includes oil. He said it's a new golden age of America, and we're going to go after that gold under our feet, he said. But here he is yesterday talking about his economic policies focused on energy cost reduction, domino effect on all the other costs of consumer goods.
Signed a sweeping slate of executive orders to stop the invasion of our borders. I launched a government-wide effort to defeat inflation and bring down the cost of daily life and bring down the cost of energy, magnificently bring it down. And when energy comes down, Larry, I'd say generally speaking, when energy comes down, everything else comes down. The prices of food and the prices of everything else come down. Energy is that's the big baby. And we declared a national energy emergency to drill, baby, drill.
And he went on from there talking about the policies he set forth. So a lot of different issues. I mean, we're only, day 2 of the Pritzker butting heads with Donald Trump. We're going to see a lot of this over the next 2 years, if not an entire 4 years. Bombast is going to be all over the place. All right, people are going to be loud and vociferous about their disagreements with President Donald Trump. But Pritzker also talking about Elon Musk. If you remember seeing the inauguration ceremony, Musk was right there sitting alongside the Trump family. But it wasn't just Musk. It was Jeff Bezos, another billionaire. It was Mark Zuckerberg, another billionaire. It was the CEO of Google, another billionaire. So Pritzker yesterday was asked about all of these billionaires. Pritzker, by the way, himself a billionaire, asked about all these billionaires that are seeming to cozy up with President Donald Trump.
Maybe some of them have delusions of becoming dictators themselves, and I was frankly disgusted when I saw yesterday at a presidential rally, not a campaign rally. This is a rally of the President of the United States. Elon Musk standing up and giving a Sig Heil, and then excusing himself for it by saying, well, he was just putting his heart out to people. I think it's disgusting. It should be called out. The president should call it out, and Elon Musk owes an apology to the American people.
By now, you've already seen the video, and you've seen plenty of people really condemning it. But the Anti-Defamation League, a group that consistently goes after who they believe are anti-Semitic, they posted this on X, saying this is a delicate moment. It's a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute, but again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt, and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead. And Elon Musk even responding to that, thanks guys, with a laughing, crying emoji. So the Anti-Defamation League going after anti-Semitic people. Governor Pritzker seems to not really agree with that, and not only said that yesterday during a news conference about the gesture that Elon Musk made, but also posting to X about it with the video shared by the PBS, the public broadcasting service, saying that this is resembling of a Nazi gesture. Pretty fascinating. Will we see this type of hyperbole from both sides over the next 2 years, over the next 4 years? Likely, after what we saw over the past 8 to 9 years. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with America's Talking Network. Get the podcast where you get podcasts. Just search Illinois in Focus and you'll find it, and get the headlines in your inbox each and every weekday morning with thecentersquare.com.